All right, now, everybody. Quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show. Now, some of you people have been with me before. You know it's going to be a tough grind, but we're going to have a show.
Thank you all. It's a pleasure to have the recorded holiday audience, and you are undaunted by the bad weather that has moved into California, which is the place from which this show emanates. Emanates is a ding word. Thank you very much. It's been a very, shall we say, productive year for the ding words. We've kind of modified the way we do them. We don't ding them all the time, but we do have a keeper of the ding who still is very much a part of the show, Tom. And I want to thank him. He's one of our listener viewers. We love our listener viewers. A happy holidays to all of you. And I'm not afraid to say Merry Goddamn Christmas. You're goddamn right. The war on Christmas ends at this show. We love Christmas. In fact, it's like a Norman Rockwell painting at my home. Courtney, with her hair back, is gift wrapping. She just showed me a beautiful red ribbon that's around this gorgeous Christmas bag that will be delivered to one of our favorite younger celebrants. Celebrants is a dang word. And I'm very excited about Christmas Eve and Christmas. We have a celebration for both with our sort of extended family. Really, as I say, there's a pastoral wonder to this day before Christmas. Pastoral is a ding word.
Merry Christmas Eve Day.
Yes, exactly. The day before the day is Christmas Eve Day. A rumpa-pum-pum, says Linda. Wow, Linda, how generous are you?
Big shout out.
$50 super chat. Thank you. We are live on Christmas Eve, and Linda recognizes it. Filled with the warmth of the holidays, Linda Galdieri knocks us down $50. Thank you, Linda. You're lovely.
Thank you. Rumpa-pum to you, too.
Rumpa-pum-pum, baby. A rump in your pum-pum. Jane Alrama with a $10 super chat right out of the chute.
Big shout out.
It's amazing.
God bless America.
Yes.
The end.
Merry Wednesday and happy holidays to the amazing Mark Thompson Show team and Remarkables all. Wishing you peace, love, and happy surprises and treats. And happy birthday, Mark. Thank you, Jane, for recognizing my day is the day after Christmas, one day earlier, and I would have been your savior. Thank you. Yes. But just missed it. Happy pre-birthday, Mark. Thank you, Jim Slayton. Big shout out to you for a $10 super chat. Jim, you're great. You're an OG. A lot of OGs on the show who are with us on this day before Christmas. Happy birthday, Mr. Thompson. Thank you. Gone fishing.
Big shout out.
Big shout out. Nice. $10 super chat. Yeah, very, very cool. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, says Kelly Malloy, also an OG.
Big shout out.
Big shout out to you, Kelly. You know, a lot of shows are in best of, or a lot of shows are running recorded stuff, or a lot of shows have fill-in hosts. We are here with you Christmas Eve live, and we are appreciative of your appreciation. So thank you very much for that. Merry Christmas, and Mark is out of focus for me too. Wow. Well, that's a good sign if I'm out of focus. You're doing the right stuff, man. A little more nog. Yeah. Get a little more nog in your eggnog. Happy birthday, Mark, and Happy New Year, says Nella Fidian, also an OG. Thank you.
Shout out.
Thank you, Nella Fidian. Good day and Merry Christmas from the Gold Coast of Australia. Shout out to Australia. Yes, it is 5 a.m. Christmas morning here now, live. Milton Watkins, master bookbinder, is our Australian correspondent.
Big shout out.
Shout out. And thank you for joining us live. Wow, 5 a.m. in Australia. You know, it is coming up on summer there, isn't it? Isn't that right? I think it's summer in Australia. It might be summer right now. Yeah.
It's currently 75 degrees there.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah. There it is. Look at Australia. So nice. Oh. I'd love to
Think
go
it's going
down.
to be 80 degrees there today?
I've said this
Good for you.
before. It's my dream to go to the Australian Open, the tennis tournament there. Every year I watch it. It's my dream to go. And I don't know. It's starting to fade, Kim. Starting to realize a lot of what I really wanted. And yeah.
Well, throw it on the bucket list. Let's go to Australia this year.
I would love it.
This is Casey Kasem in Hollywood.
But all right. Well, Casey may bring us there.
I think we can write that off because you're very big in Australia.
Well, here's the story with write-offs.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you. And John Rothmann, he's going to be along at the bottom of the hour.
Yeah.
I've got John Rothmann, bottom of the hour. I've got J-L Cauvin today.
Yeah.
And a special appearance from Michael Snyder, the Culture Blaster, to get you hooked up on movies. So all of that is going to be happening. But here's the thing about write-offs, and this is a good thing for maybe other people to remember, because you always hear, well, you can write this off. You can write this off. You can go to Australia, take the show, write it off.
Yeah.
You write off things against income. You write things off against revenue.
Wait, are you saying if we have no revenue, we can't write anything off?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
We got $2 from Richard Delamater. I don't know what you're complaining about.
$2 from Richard Delamater, who is our inebriated friend. Tiny Tim offers $2 on behalf of the Remarkables.
Mm-hmm.
So, Yvonne Beach Bonnie says Australia is the opposite when it comes to seasons. They just had the summer solstice. One of my friends sent me pictures of her twins back in the 90s. They're sitting on grass in their shorts. Yeah, the world is a wild place, isn't it? It's totally different there. Very cool. Happy birthday, Rhonda, who's also an OG.
Big shout out.
And thank you for a $10 super chat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my birthday's the day after tomorrow. I don't know. Very low-key affair planned.
Are you going to do anything big? Go out to dinner? Have a little house party?
I'm going to start the day the way I've started every day for the last month or so. I'm going to greet my 18-year-old cat, Charlie, who I love desperately, and clean him of the urine and blood that he's been sitting in overnight. Yes, it's a...
What?
I'm sorry. It's the reality.
Yeah.
And then I think I have a low-key lunch plan and a low-key dinner plan. Very low-key.
All right.
Yeah, so there you have it. Anyway, I think we've sort of discharged with the preliminaries. We've kind of allowed people to filter in who are going to join us live on this Christmas Eve. Dillette is an OG with a $40 super sticker.
Big
wow.
shout out.
Now I'm glad we came on the air live.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, I'm drinking the Holiday Blend Coachella Valley coffee, too.
Thank you, Dillette. What a nice contribution.
Dillette, I love you. Cheers to you, Dillette. You're so lovely. Dillette has all our merch. She may have bought. We sent her a bunch of merch. Courtney and I did we sent her special merch because she was so wonderful and bought so much. Peacefully Resist is the mug that I'm drinking from. It has our tasteful reference and logo on the back of the mug. If you so desire, you can find all of that at getmarkmerch.com. Yeah, very, very cool. Thank you. No lunch at Spago, Mark? I know, I really should have. Why? I wish Rothman lived in Los Angeles. You know, he lives in San Francisco, and he makes a big deal out of San Francisco, and he walks around like he owns the place. And they talk about him for mayor, and all. They always talk about him for mayor. He's not going to run for mayor. So Rothman, if he lived in L.A., he's like the kind of guy who I could cajole into getting me lunch at Spago. Spago's very expensive. But I feel like Rothman would step up. For all the grief I give Rothman, I think he would step up and buy me lunch at Spago.
He would. I think
he would.
very, very generous heart, that one.
He's very generous, and he is wealthy, which I love. There's nothing wrong with being wealthy, and we're all trying to be wealthy. You know, I like how we're always dumping on wealthy people in this country. We're always, my thing with being wealthy is there's nothing wrong with being wealthy. We're all trying to be wealthy or rich, however you want to say, have some money, but you need to pay taxes on it. That's all I'm saying. That's my entire thing with the elite. Let's have an elite tax bracket. Right now they have an elite tax bracket. It's 0. So, because as you're aware, and we've talked about this on the show, and David K. Johnston can lay it all out for you, and so can Ray Madoff, any of these people who are professors on taxation, they can tell you they essentially declare no revenue They declare zero income, so there's no income tax, and that's the real heavy tax. And then after that, it's all working with, as you know, borrowing against stock and the kind of monies that they don't have to pay taxes on. Super sticker from Dylan. That's not John Rothmann, by the way. That's just, I'm talking about the real elite. I'm talking about the Jeff Bezos of the world, Elon Musk's of the world. Dylan Bob, as he's called, with a super sticker for $50. Wow.
Big shout out.
The Christmas season has brought out the generosity in our crew. I'm very impressed. Now, didn't we have before I get into the heavy stuff, and I've got Epstein files. I have a big story about lobbyists. I have a big story about this drone giveaway to the Trump family. I've got a lot, and not to mention Venezuela. And we'll get to a lot of this with Rothmann, who comes up now in just about 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. But didn't we have a picture sent to us with our merch?
Yeah, we got a great email.
I've received a lot of positive letters.
I believe it's from Daniel, who sent us a picture of him in France, right near the Arc de Triomphe.
Yeah.
You can see here.
Yeah.
And he's got a Mark Thompson show hat. He writes, "Hi, Mark. Good evening. Thought I would share a photo of myself wearing some Mark merch in Europe. Photo taken December 17th. Thank you so much to you and Kim and Albert and Tony for being such great voices during speaking out for all of us. Happy non-denominational holidays to you all." And this is from Dan.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Can you, Tony, I think, has been knocked offline or something. Can you bring up the picture? Yeah, because we didn't see the picture. We just saw the, we just heard the, I don't know. Tony, can you bring the picture up now, please? You don't know what was going on? Okay, so we just did that picture of the
there it is. He's got it.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey.
All right, I love it.
There's Dan.
That's a great hat. Look at that combination. Handsome devil.
Looks good.
Got that scarf going. Paris. Wow, Paris at the holidays, huh? Yeah.
Beautiful.
Rothmann, I feel like you, Paris at the holidays, were you a big, I don't know, you feel like you've lived that romantic life, Paris at the holidays, international traveler. Isn't that right, John Rothmann?
Oh, absolutely. My niece and her husband and my sister-in-law are all in Paris at this very moment, celebrating the season.
Well, that's really great. All right, put him back in the green room if you would. Thank you. All right, that was very, very good. Hula Steph, a $20 super sticker.
Big
wow, Hula Steph, you are also an OG. What a terrific showing of the Remarkables who show up here on Christmas Eve and are so very generous. Thank you all.
Yep.
We better get a special Christmas rod of equity and mercy today from Richard Delamater. That imperative with a $2 super sticker. I do need to. Where is my? Oh my God!
Where's the rod?
Well, it's not. I've got the rod always. With a, it's in a. But didn't we get? What happened, Tony? I got demonetized for.
Yes.
This is the. Hang on, it's my transfer. Just give me a second. All right, now. Settle. This is a special moment. Please don't laugh. It breaks my trance when you laugh. And now.
Receive the rod of equity and mercy.
Yes, indeed. Again, receive.
Receive the rod of equity and mercy.
And I'll give you, because it is Christmas Eve, a third.
Receive the rod of equity and mercy.
Wow. That takes a lot out of me. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
The Mark Thompson Show.
A mele kalili kalikamana. How do you say it again?
Mele kalikimaka.
Yeah, mele kalikimaka is the way to. What's the lyric?
That's something.
Oh
on
my
a bright
God,
Hawaiian
Kim.
Christmas day. Yeah,
What?
I don't know.
I would expect you, born in Hawaii, to know it.
Uh,
Mele kalikimaka is the thing they say, or whatever, something like
Yeah.
that. What is it, Tony? Do you know the lyric? God, I mean, I can't believe it. You guys don't know the
You know,
lyric?
they do this to me all the time. I don't know what the hell they do it for.
Mele kalikimaka to the Mark Thompson Show crew. Thanks for bringing light to these dark times, says Hula Steph. That's
really
so
nice.
sweet of you, Hula Steph. Thank you for your support of the show, and thank you for a $20 Mele kalikimaka is
There it
the
is.
thing to say.
On a bright
Hawaiian Christmas Day.
day. But who sang it?
Well, I mean, who didn't sing it? I know that. Didn't Elvis sing it?
Who's famous for singing it?
Oh, I don't know who.
Bing Crosby.
Oh, wow. I didn't. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah?
the one.
This is
that's the
Casey
one you always
Kasem
hear
in
is the Bing
Hollywood.
Crosby version.
Bing Crosby made it most popular.
Mhm.
Who wrote it?
I don't know who wrote it.
Oh, I don't know who wrote it. Can we check who wrote it, please, Tony?
This is Casey Kasem in Hollywood.
Now we're having Tony check to see who wrote Mele Kalikimaka, one of the great
Who wrote it?
Hawaiian. R. Alex Anderson,
I don't know
Hey.
that guy.
a Honolulu-born composer, wrote
Oh.
the cheerful ukulele-driven tune in 1949, inspired by a co-worker's lament about the lack of original Hawaiian Christmas songs.
Mm.
Anderson, a popular figure in the half-white music genre, penned the song about a warm island Christmas and famously recorded by Bing Crosby and the Andrews Sisters
Mhm.
in 1950.
This is Casey Kasem in Hollywood.
Famously recorded by Bing Crosby and the Andrews Sisters. Rothman, did you know the Andrews Sisters? I feel like they'd be people you'd hang out with. Am I wrong about that?
No, but Bing Crosby, and I have a great story.
All right.
As many of you know, my family business was MJB Coffee, and they used to do an MJB Coffee hour, and Bing Crosby would sing the MJB song, "Drink a Cup of Good Old MJB." Okay, but wait. It was live radio, and he came in drunk one day.
Oh.
And my grandfather,
Woo!
my grandfather, Edward Branston Sr., called him in and said to him, "Young man, if you don't stop drinking, you'll never get anywhere in this world." And he fired him.
I'd be willing to bet my lunch that there's alcohol involved.
That's terrific. Well, he
True
seemed
story.
to have.
But don't worry, Bob Hope also did commercials, but the most famous of all was Nancy Davis, who later became Nancy Reagan.
Of course, yeah.
Did
How
what
about
was
that?
called a tree tea. It was tree tea instead of MJB tree. And she did the commercial for that. I wrote her a letter one day and I said, "Can you tell me, Mrs. Reagan, about that experience?" And she never answered me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's
But I
a
have a
great
picture
story.
of
Maybe
her-
change the ending, and you've got a better story. All right. All right. John Rothman back in the green room. Thank you very much. You can't give John Rothman too much, too much oxygen. Otherwise, he just takes it out. So.
The Mark Thompson Show.
We're trying to get off the launch pad here on this day before Christmas. Wishing you a Merry Christmas. Angela Silva with a $20 super sticker. Wow, this is really the coolest. Thank you, Angela. You're so lovely to not only give us a shout out, but to throw us a couple of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very tentative relationship we have with funding, meaning it's just not stuff that we can count on. We're completely crowdfunded. A lot of independent media is, and I know there is sort of a bite on many people who take in independent media to contribute and support. I support a ton of different Substacks. I support a ton of different the channels and try to be as supportive as I can be. And I know you might have sort of a similar disposition, but you have limited funds, and so I really appreciate you making us a priority. And thank you for that. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Steve Daniels with a $10 super sticker. Big shout out to Steve. Come on, Steve Daniels. And
And
I
a beer.
love that. I love
Yeah.
that, exactly. I love his avatar as a beer.
Cheers. Absolutely.
And a Mele Kalikimaka to you and to all of you. Happy birthday to Mark and happy holidays to all the remarkable, says San Jose Lola. Another
Big shout out.
real OG of this show. Really special. Man. Well, Merry Christmas, everybody. Very, very great that you could all be here. I'm bumping up against Rothman's time pretty closely, but I do want to get to a couple of things. Happy birthday to Mark and happy holidays to the remarkable, says San Jose Lola. That really is a wonderful sentiment. Thank you, San Jose Lola. Thank you all who are jumping in to the chat in every way that you do. So,
The Mark Thompson Show.
I am quickly going to review a couple of things that are going on. I think the big news of the moment is the legal ruling that has gone against the President of the United States. As you know, one of the oddest flexes that Donald Trump has personally, I think, seen to is the deployment of troops to American cities. It's outrageous. It's completely unwarranted. And there has to be an underlying agenda that's a dark agenda to that entire move. And one of the things and one of the problems that Donald Trump has been able to take advantage of within the American system is the pace at which legal proceedings go forward. So as he makes these deployments, knowing they're illegal, he knows as well, and we've talked about this at length here, that killing the clock, delaying things, that will be his friend. And he's able to pursue any number of things that are at best of questionable illegality and at worst of obvious illegality. And he's able to pursue them over months and months and months, because by the time they proceed through the courts, they proceed without injunction, without stoppages, on appeal, and then ultimately the Supreme Court weighs in, and that takes all this time. Well, finally, the Supreme Court has weighed in right before Christmas on the deployment of these National Guard troops to places like Chicago, and they've ruled, even this concierge Supreme Court has ruled against Donald Trump. Go ahead, Tony.
The Supreme Court has dealt a significant blow to the Trump administration, blocking the president from deploying the National Guard to Chicago. In the 6-3 ruling, the court's 3 liberal justices were joined by Chief Justice John Roberts, Justice Amy Coney Barrett, and Justice Brett Kavanaugh. And today's decision could jeopardize Guard deployments in other cities. With us now, CNN senior legal analyst Ellie Holding is a former federal prosecutor. Walk us through the reasoning here from the Supreme Court, which I have to say is truly interesting.
It really is. It's an unusual decision and a major setback for the Trump administration, not just in Chicago, but more broadly. The law that Donald Trump used to deploy the National Guard in the first place says that the president can call out the National Guard if he is unable with regular forces, we're going to come back to that, okay, regular forces to execute the laws of the United States. Now, the Trump administration argued that means if he's unable with regular cops, with FBI, DEA, ICE to enforce the laws, then you can call in the National Guard. What the Supreme Court said is, no. That phrase, regular forces, that means the regular military, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and only those very narrow areas where the military is even allowed to come in and execute the laws in the first place. So basically, the Supreme Court has put the bar very high to deploy the National Guard in the future and has limited it to an almost minuscule slice of all conduct on the streets. It's going to make it very difficult for the president to justify the National Guard in Portland, New York, anywhere else.
Explain why this mattered in Chicago, but didn't play in Los Angeles or in Portland, Oregon, where the Guard was also deployed.
So I think you and I discussed Los Angeles and D.C. were different. D.C. was different. Trump was allowed generally to deploy there because the president is in charge of the D.C. National Guard, okay? Put that to the side. L.A. was different, Los Angeles, because there were protests that at times turned violent happening there. The rationale in Chicago is much more generalized. Just, well, crime rates are high and it's very dangerous. And the Supreme Court has said that's not enough for this specific statute.
Yeah, and again, for it to be allowed in cities like Chicago in these circumstances, it would have to get past posse comitatus, right?
Right.
Yes. Which means what?
You with your Latin phrases, which means that the military traditionally cannot conduct regular law enforcement activities. They can't make traffic stops. They can't do searches. They can really only provide a very basic security function. So it's very, very narrow. So this decision really leaves very limited room for Trump to deploy the National Guard elsewhere. They can try to argue circumstances are different, but if the argument's just going to be, well, it's dangerous, that's not going to cut it.
Where they're not invited is also important, too.
Yes. Well, it's a big difference if the governor requests aid.
Right.
That changes the whole legal calculus. Interesting coalition here, right? We're so used to these 6-3 decisions, 6 conservatives versus 3 liberals. Here you had Chief Justice Roberts, Amy Coney Barrett, and Brett Kavanaugh joining with the liberals, leaving the 3 conservatives complaining about this. This was an emergency docket case, meaning there was not full briefing, there was no oral argument, and there's been criticism of the emergency docket. The way this plays is whoever loses hates the emergency docket.
All right, again, very interesting reasoning, could have a vast impact depending on where else the president wanted to deploy the Guard.
I like this for another reason. I think the coalition to which their legal expert, that Honig, referred, I think that is instructive because it can be the same judicial coalition that you'll find on the tariff question, which sits before the Supreme Court. In other words, as you look to see this concierge Supreme Court rule against Trump on a key policy measure, the deployment of these troops in Chicago, I think you could see that same coalition show itself on the tariffs, which are clearly illegal. Now, again, in a pessimistic way, I'm sort of seeing like, maybe they're going to rule for Trump because it's going to be such a mess if they rule against him. But it's clearly a tax, an import tax. And taxes are not the world of the chief executive. They are the world of Congress. So we'll see. Don't get me wrong. You can start and stop with this decision. It's huge. And by the way, these National Guard troops will be home for Christmas, which they should be. And you'll remember that with Trump's first season 1 of the Trump show, when he was elected over Hillary Clinton, he deployed all of these soldiers to the southern border to handle a completely concocted threat from the caravan. Remember, those who were coming out of Latin America? I mean, these are people who showed up to the southern border in blue jeans and torn T-shirts, starving and dying of thirst. And he's deploying the American military there to handle the threat. And Fox News Channel talked about the caravan and tracking the caravan's progress. The military, again, and I made the point at the time, was being used as a prop, a political prop. And there is a lot of theater in what Trump does. And this administration really takes advantage of the media. So with this propaganda machine of Fox News Channel, they were able to amplify this caravan thing. But more to the point, and I mentioned it just around the holidays, you had these military people having to go to the border for something that, as I say, is completely illusory. It's completely concocted, and they're having to spend Christmas there. It's insane. So good on this court for at least getting these guys home. I say guys generically, the men and women of the National Guard, so they can go spend time with their families at Christmas and not be involved in this ridiculous exercise. So that's the story on the Supreme Court and The Mark Thompson Show. A major decision. I'll get to the Epstein files here with John Rothmann. There's a lot to that. Rothmann is, smash the like button if you would. I'm sorry, I got to do that YouTube stuff.
Smash it with your iron rod.
Do it with your iron rod. Smash it like a boss.
Smash it with
it
your
helps us in
iron
the world
rod.
of YouTube. The way it works is if you get enough thumbs up, you'll show up in people's feeds that otherwise don't know you're there. Also appreciate you subscribing and hitting the notification bell. You'll know whenever we drop a video. We drop even on Christmas. We have a new video today in addition to the show. And when I say video, I mean it's a conversation. And we also on Christmas have one, don't we, Tony? I think we have
tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're going to be releasing stuff.
So every day you'll have a fresh conversation. And some of the stuff is offbeat, some of the stuff's political, some of it's not political. But I think you'll like it and you'll know about it if you hit that notification bell.
And they'll also be up at regular showtime at 11 a.m. is when they'll premiere. So just
awesome. Tony's the best. Thank you, my friend. All right.
The Mark Thompson Show.
This guy, thank you for helping keeping the show alive. The MarkThompsonShow.com is a place you can go, and their Patreon and PayPal links. You can click through either, and you can become a monthly supporter of the show. We run the names of everybody who supports us every month. At the end of every episode, Tony updates that list every month. Once a month, we update the list, and we so appreciate everybody who supports the show in any way for any amount. It really does matter. You know, it takes a village, as it said. So this guy's our former colleague at KGO Radio. He's a lecturer, a history professor, an author. He's a great mind on so many different things. He's the wonderful John Rothmann, everybody.
First of all, I have to say happy birthday to you, Mark. We are going to celebrate on the 26th in an appropriate fashion. I'll have an extra piece of cake in your honor.
Thank you very much. That's very, very special. Thank you.
Thompson, party of four.
Yes, my birthday is the day after Christmas. Thank you, sir. Hey, John, we just did the story about Donald Trump's policy of National Guard deployment in Chicago being rebuffed by the Supreme Court. Give me a second on that before I get to Epstein.
I owe you an apology and our listeners. I predicted that there would be a different vote on the Supreme Court. Brett Kavanaugh defied all of our predictions, and that's why you had a 6-3 vote. And I want to concur with you 100%. If I were the Trump people, I would be very worried about the tariff vote, which is coming down the line. And I think for Donald Trump, these are major, major blows. I was relieved at their decision. I believe it will put a big crimp in whether or not there can be deployments in the future. But I want to remind everybody about the Insurrection Act. Donald Trump and his people this morning are threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act, which would ameliorate, that's a ding word, which would ameliorate, thank you, which would ameliorate the whole issue of defying the Supreme Court. And so I just want everybody to be aware. Let's take a look. Let's see what they do.
Well, let's just spend a beat on that because you mentioned it. The Insurrection Act, it really then does give the president power for deployment of the sort that we're talking about.
Exactly. And that's exactly the point.
Yeah, so he can invoke that, is what John's saying, and then he can get around the Supreme Court
decision. And they're
decision.
threatening this morning at the White House to do just that.
And, these are guys who don't take setbacks too well. They lean in hard. And so I would look for this, particularly this crew loves the military flex and to turn the military on those that they see in America as the problem cities, the problem states. Those are blue states. Typically, that's where you find the lion's share of this stuff. And so I look for this. That's why it's Los Angeles. That's why it's Chicago. That's why they talk San Francisco as well. So we'll see how this all plays out. This is all going on against the backdrop of Epstein revelations of sorts. I mean, we've only seen a very small percentage of this Epstein stuff. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of pages. And I mention that because it's a lot to take in. And even with 30,000 pages to go through, there's plenty more that we still haven't seen released.
Let's talk about redactions. One of the things that was most interesting to me is the reaction of the survivors of Epstein's abuses, who are furious at the fact that these redactions are taking place. The Justice Department announced that over the holiday that there will be volunteers coming in to help with the redactions. This, frankly, reminds me of Richard Nixon when the Watergate tapes were first revealed. And I have a big blue book that was issued by the White House with their version of the tapes. Well, you know, when the tapes came out, that version, well, was proved to be completely fallacious. That's another ding word. But I want to point out that there is no doubt in my mind that this goes a lot deeper, and that what the Trump administration is doing is really what members of Congress are saying. This is an obstruction of justice. It is a defiance of the congressional resolution, which I would remind everyone passed the Senate unanimously, in the House with only one dissenting vote. And so there are real questions. And if I were Donald Trump, I would be very, very concerned. By the way, everyone asks about Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton has said, put it all out there. It's true I knew Epstein. I flew on his plane, but I had no involvement with any of this, whether it's true or not. The attitude of a former president is release it all. The attitude of this president is, I'm not so sure we should do that. And we now know why.
Well, I mean, I think you make a good distinction. I mean, I don't know. Clinton, it certainly fits the Clinton profile that he'd be involved in a dalliance or six. But that said, I feel as though
six or sex.
Yeah, six is what I said. But I do think that what you're saying is critical, which is, show me somebody who's saying, "Hey, release it all." I want it all out there. Those are the statements, and that's the disposition of somebody who has less to hide than that guy who's saying it's all a hoax, it's a Democratic hoax. I don't want, I don't know why we're still even talking about Epstein. Okay, let's release it, and then we'll release it in an incredibly redacted way. I mean, aggressively redacted way, and then they only release a portion of it to begin with. So even with the redactions, you're getting only a portion of the files. You get no victim statements. I mean, there are a bunch of victim statements. You know that because of the Florida case. So, and you have victims' names out there. There are victims' names in this release from the government, from the DOJ, that you would have thought they'd redact. I mean, they're so busy redacting. So it's
a huge cover-up. It's a cover-up.
There's a chaos in cover-up, though. There's a chaos to this cover-up, John?
No, I don't. I'm going to, respectfully, as I always do, disagree with you. I don't think it's chaos. I think it's deliberate. I think they are going through, editing, making sure that certain things don't get out. I rolled through some of the website, which, by the way, vanished and then had to be put back up.
Well, that's one of the reasons I say it's chaotic, because you're absolutely right. They put it all out there and then they pulled it all back.
That's because they're afraid, and they have good reason to be afraid. Will it impinge upon Donald Trump being president? Probably not. But let me be clear. There is no doubt that he was complicit and is a sleaze. And I say that without any hesitation or doubt.
One of the newly released emails published this week, yesterday, claiming that flight logs show that Donald Trump flew on Epstein's plane at least 8 times in the 90s, including once with an unnamed 20-year-old woman. The email, which a federal prosecutor in New York sent in January of 2020 to an undisclosed person, says, quote, "For your situational awareness, I want to let you know that the flight records we received yesterday reflect that Donald Trump traveled on Epstein's private jet many more times than previously has been reported, or that we were aware,
well,
including during the period we would expect to charge in a Ghislaine Maxwell case." In other words, this is a prosecutor saying, if you're going to charge Maxwell for things done during this period, you should be aware that the President of the United States, again, at that time, Donald Trump, is mentioned in numerous references to flights on the private jet and alone with Ghislaine Maxwell on the private jet with Epstein.
And if you listen to the White House, why, Donald Trump barely knew Epstein. That's what's
on one flight in 1993, he and Epstein are the only 2 listed passengers. On another, the only 3 passengers are Epstein, Trump, and then this 20-year-old, and then it's redacted. On 2 other flights, 2 of the passengers, respectively, were women who would be possible witnesses in a Maxwell case. This is all from the prosecutor, and this is part of the release of these materials. So you can see they were well aware that there is not only a reputational stink on the sitting president at that time, who was Donald Trump, but maybe even a legal stink that was to extend to him.
But remember, Trump barely knew Epstein. Just want to remind you of that.
Right. That was the original position. It seems to have been modified a bit. The White House is managing the Department of Justice's X account. And, I have this, it's a crazy decision they made to have X, this platform, be a platform on which they release a bunch of important governmental information. I mean, I don't understand it, except for the fact that it's an Elon Musk company, and so you see the self-dealing associated with it. This is at the time that Musk was beginning his dismantling of government, and he had started Doge and all this sort of thing. It was at that time that they decided they're going to use his platform for all these official declarations. So anyway, the Trump administration now is taking from the Department of Justice. And again, this is a Department of Justice that is wildly mobbed up. It's basically the president's curated legal team. They're not doing the work of the American public. They're doing the work of their client, Donald Trump, but they're still snatching away from them the X platform, and they say that they now will be in control of all of the declarations and postings that will be associated with the Department of Justice on the X platform.
Don't you find that so reassuring, Mark? It's like putting the fox in charge of the chicken coop. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. So, again, the Epstein train has left the station. It's moving very slowly, John, but it is a damning set of insinuations, I'll call them, so far. And I think while there may not be the smoking gun of Trump, I don't know what a smoking gun would be, really. Maybe you can tell me. I think that there's enough smoke around this gun that it's a problem for this administration.
Of course it is. And we're going to see how it plays out. I'm very interested now in the reaction of members of Congress, because the feeling is that the Justice Department has defied a nearly unanimous resolution by the House and Senate. And that, to me, signifies a greater erosion of support by the president, for the president, by the Republicans.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I mean, I think he's not the political force that he was. Don't get me wrong; he's still very powerful. One of the reasons he's so powerful is because his followers are ready to pursue a crusade on his part. I was reading a piece about how judges are scared to rule in any way against Trump, and when Trump calls out judges nationwide, they are enduring all kinds of intimidation from the MAGA nation. For example, they start with the pizza delivery thing. That's where they kind of sort of imply, we know where you live. We're delivering pizza at your place because we know exactly where you live. I was reading a piece about how this 83-year-old judge, or maybe 81-year-old judge, who was 81 or 83, I forget which, and he said for the first time he went and got his gun out of storage because he's so worried about threats to his person. So even as Trump begins to see politically his power beginning to ebb, I think you see what we talked about and warned about, which is that this MAGA nation is capable of political violence. And that's a real intimidating factor on judges and on politicians as well.
I have to tell you, I did a 3-hour talk show last Saturday rather. And the question was, are the American people suffering from Trump derangement syndrome? And the host, who's very conservative, of course, wanted to affirm that. And I said, well, look, let's be blunt. Trump derangement syndrome, if you want to define it, exists on both sides. The people who love Trump will never release that love, and the people who hate him are after him. But interestingly enough, there was a psychologist who appeared with me on the broadcast and who had come in with a different conclusion. He finally said, John, you're right. You're absolutely right. It exists on both sides. But my friends, this has nothing to do with derangement syndrome. This has everything to do with the facts of the case. And may I raise, just for a moment, 60 Minutes and what's happening at CBS News. I am a big fan of the CBS World News Roundup of blessed memory. I was a bigger fan of the Weekend in Review on the Week in Review, broadcast on the weekends on CBS. Both of those institutions, those wonderful broadcasts have been canceled, effective now. So the last broadcasts were last week. What that means is, and I really believe this with all my heart, Donald Trump is in a war against the First Amendment, and he's in a war against CBS or CNN or ABC or NBC. He's in a war against media. And I don't know about all of you, but I get my information by listening, by watching media. And if what we are going to see is this kind of takeover, we're in bad shape. And I know, Mark, you talked about the attempt by the Ellisons to take over CNN. And I just want to be very clear about this. Were that to happen, what you would see would be, and I believe this, a purge at CNN, and it would become Fox News again. So we are in a battle.
They've actually had a conversation at the White House. As you know, the Ellisons have met with Trump, and they talked about the ways that they would change CNN if they were to have control. So that's another reason that Trump is sort of being nudged toward granting Ellison and weighing in on the Ellison acquisition of CNN and the Warner Brothers properties. Yeah.
Larry Ellison has just announced that he is completely in favor of this takeover by his son. So I'm raising this because I want people to understand I make my ability to speak and communicate based on news. And if what I'm going to get is this truncated news, and what happened was so funny from CNN, because CNN, or rather CBS, pulled the broadcast on their broadcast of 60 Minutes, but it showed up in Canada. Well, I don't know about you, but my email was flooded with copies of that particular broadcast. And it goes to show you, and may I say a word about Barry Weiss? She is the last person who's be in charge of CBS Network News. If Edward R. Murrow and Walter Cronkite and Dan Rather and all the others were alive today, well, Dan is still alive, they'd be rolling over in their graves. It's absolutely appalling.
Well, if they were alive, they wouldn't be rolling over in their grave. All right, now listen. I think CC has
approach this with a sense of humor, for God's sake.
CC Ryder says Trump derangement syndrome, to which you were referring, John, is simply a branding tactic to suppress any critical assessment of Trump. Don't fall for it. Call out the tactic to protect mad fascist king as a war on free speech, which is essentially what you've done. Exactly. I actually love your take, which is, hey, for every bit of Trump derangement syndrome, on the other side, it's the, Trump can do no wrong syndrome. So I like that. And I also, just on the 60 Minutes thing, it is wild how we've now all seen that 60 Minutes piece. As usual, you ban a book and everybody wants to read that book. You ban a segment and everybody wants to see the segment.
And if you ban the Mark Thompson program, you'll have more subscribers.
Oh, there you go. There you go. So I want to ask you about Venezuela and the moves that the Trump administration is making in and around Venezuela and the Caribbean. So they're on this 4-month-long military campaign against Venezuela, and they're striking security agreements quietly with other countries to deploy U.S. troops across Latin America, across the Caribbean. The blockade on oil tankers under sanctions, the seizure of vessels, the airstrikes. Airstrikes have killed more than 100 people. Talk to me about what's happening here and whether or not there could be regime change. Could Maduro step down? What is your sense of the end game here and what's between here and the end game?
Well, I wish I knew the end game. Well, Donald Trump is determined to overthrow Maduro. Now, it's true, Maduro really shouldn't be president. He lost the last election. I mean, that's completely valid. But what Trump is doing is pursuing him in a fashion that makes it clear that Donald Trump's interest is not interdicting drugs coming into the United States. He's interested in having Maduro thrown out as president of Venezuela. And when that happens, well, who will control the Venezuelan oil? That's Donald Trump's real bottom line. My own feeling,
go ahead.
Just quickly, I don't want to intrude too much, but I want you to be clear that when I interviewed Tom Eagleton many years ago about the War Powers Act on KGO, the War Powers Act was originally authored by Tom Eagleton. He told me that in the end, he voted against the very bill that he had promulgated because it didn't limit a president's power to make war. It expanded a president's power to make war. If there is going to be a limitation on presidential authority or some accountability, it will have to be crafted by Congress. I have no problem with the president being commander in chief. And I think generally presidents try to do the responsible thing. But there is no doubt that what Donald Trump is doing is personal vindictiveness against a leader of a country who, frankly, has no credibility with me. But this is the simple reality. When you have a president having this kind of power to do whatever he wishes to do, we have a national crisis.
Well, the regime change plans of the U.S. typically don't end well either. Am I right, John?
Really? Yeah, I think that's generally true.
Yeah.
We have made terrible mistakes, and I think this is a mistake.
Well, this guy, this guy is surrounded by incompetents like Pete Hegseth and others.
Are you saying the Secretary of Defense, who is really the Secretary of War of the United States, is incompetent? Oh, wait, you raised the issue. Let me jump in and say it is Hegseth who has made the decision not to release the video of the 2 people stranded being killed. And everyone who has seen it on one side of the aisle, the Democrats say, well, of course, it's very embarrassing. Clearly was not.
Well, it's worse than embarrassing. It's illegal, and the entire thing is
it's criminal.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
criminal. So the question becomes, why isn't Congress demanding the release of that video? And the answer, my friends, is the Republicans control the House and Senate. They're not going to do anything to embarrass this Secretary of Defense or this president. But But I'm going to tell you right now what I believe with all my heart. The Democrats are going to win in November. And this whole thing is going to change. And if I were the Trump people, I'd be terribly scared.
A harbinger of the corporate censorship at CBS, says depressed Canadian. At CBS in particular, this corporate censorship beautifully depicted in Michael Mann's 1999 film, The Insider.
Yes,
Christopher Plummer brilliantly portraying Mike Wallace. It's a masterpiece, says depressed
100%.
Canadian.
And everybody, you're looking for something to watch on the holidays, great movie.
Yeah, get the kids around that one. Get the grandchildren to watch how they suppressed a story on 60 Minutes. They'll love it. They'll love it.
I know, it's going to be fascinating.
Yeah, why does Grandpa always show us this stuff that has...
well, I got to tell you, I'm teaching a class starting in January on Edward R. Murrow and the broadcast journalism of those days. And what really hits me hard is that the dream that Edward R. Murrow had, the dream that CBS had of being a great news network, has evaporated in the face of what Trump is doing. And I think, I don't care if you're a liberal or a conservative, a Trumpist or a non-Trumpist, you ought to be outraged by it. You ought to be absolutely...
Well, information and access to information and real journalism is critical to a real
100%.
democracy or democratic republic.
And you can't do your job, and I can't do mine without it.
Unreliable, creating more problems than solving them, a negative force on the world stage. This is how large shares of America's closest allies view the U.S. This is according to new polling. As President Trump pursues a sweeping foreign policy overhaul, pluralities in Germany and France, a majority of Canadians say the U.S. is a negative force globally. This is a new international Politico public first polling result. Views in the United Kingdom are a bit more mixed, but it's a dim assessment from Canada, Germany, and France, hugely leaning negative. Negative force in the world, 56% in Canada.
Well, can you imagine, and I want people to understand this, the president of the United States is dissing Europe. He's saying, we don't need our European allies. And this, my friends, is in complete defiance of all logic and history since the end of World War II. It's beyond my comprehension.
I mean, it's one thing, I'm sorry to interrupt, I'm just going to say, it's one thing to pursue policies that might be not as favorable to Europe, but it's another thing to smack talk the way that he has. I mean, the rhetoric surrounding our allies, and it happened right out of the chute. Mexico, Canada, NATO allies, he really blowtorched them, and then he followed it with policy.
And look at Greenland. Look at what's happening in Greenland, where the president's representative in Greenland has talked about it would be better off if it were part of the United States. There was a cartoon that appeared in one of the Greenland newspapers that depicts Trump the way he is, completely corrupt, completely out of touch. And of course, Greenland is, as the foreign minister of Denmark has said, we're in control here. That isn't going to change. But this is Donald Trump. And may I really, this is my psychiatric session with you, doctor. I believe Donald Trump is completely out of control. I believe the arrogance of power is a crippling problem for Donald Trump. And I believe we are going to pay the price. We are paying the price as a nation. And what grieves me is not that I suffer from Trump derangement syndrome. It is, speaking as somebody who has studied the American presidency, knows it well, this man is the most corrupting force in the history of American political history.
As his mortality seems to encroach upon him in a greater way, I mean, we talk about health issues, we talk about the bruising on his hand, we talk about the MRI scans and the likely nature of these repeated cognitive tests that they do, and these MRI scans and the bruising, and it kind of forms a little constellation of issues that might have to do with a creeping dementia. You know, they don't give cognitive testing over and over and MRI scans over and over as part of a basic physical. You do these things as you're trying to track maybe the encroachment of dementia on his mental acuity. So all I'm trying to say is, do you think this stuff is influencing him? That's why he's slapping his name on the Kennedy Center and slapping his name on these battleships and I mean, there's a sense of reaching out as he sees his mortality closing in.
I agree with you completely. And I think this is one of the tragedies. These Trump battleships is one of the most ridiculous stories I've ever heard. But let me point out to you that the Republicans, under the 25th Amendment, it would require the vice president to take action against the president. It would require Congress to take action. It would require members of the president's cabinet to vote to take action. No one is prepared to do that.
Well, the 25th Amendment is off the table. That's ridiculous. Even with Biden, that was absurd. You know,
right,
no one's going to. Right.
I'm just pointing out to you, you were the one who mentioned dementia.
Yeah.
You are the one who is mentioning all of these things.
Sure.
And my point to you is that even if it were apparent and true, the odds of a betrayal by the people who support Donald Trump is minimal. Let me point out, if we can quickly, that J.D. Vance is the leading candidate for the Republican nomination for president. He is vice president under Donald Trump. He is a defender of Donald Trump, and who, by the way, just said, and I think maybe you already played it, the United States is a Christian nation. This is a man who is on the verge, if something happens to Donald Trump, of becoming president of the United States. Marco Rubio is mentioned actively, and some people have suggested the ticket of Vance and Rubio to succeed Donald Trump would make great sense. These are people towing the line. And
well, the Christian nation thing you mentioned is really disturbing. I mean, in addition to whatever other destructive policies would be launched. Tony, you have that, right? Do you still have it, his comments? That was J.D. Vance. I think I mentioned
at the turning point.
At the turning point thing. Here he is.
Oh, I'd love to hear it.
Truly served as an anchor of the United States of America is that we have been, and by the grace of God, we always will be a Christian nation.
And that's a standing ovation that he gets for that.
And that scared the living bejeebers out of me.
Yeah, I would just say that there's nothing wrong, and I mean, here we are, the day before Christmas. Nothing wrong with Christianity or religion. It can be a rallying point and a point of coherence for so many things in life. It can be solace for so much pain. Religion can serve so many great purposes, but the sort of statement that he's made there to that group is one of a let's reclaim this nation for this religion. And that sort of statement and philosophy is insanely destructive, and we've seen what it's done through time.
Oh, listen, I couldn't agree more. And I think this is something I will never forget. John Anderson, who many of you remember was the independent candidate for president, but had been a Republican leader, 3 times introduced an amendment to the Constitution to redefine America as a Christian nation believing in Jesus Christ. The last time he did it was 1965. And when he ran for president, I had the opportunity to sit with him and ask him about it. And he said, John, it was the biggest mistake I ever made in my political career. I never should have ventured that thought. But the simple reality is the religious right is committed to that concept. And may I say, as a non-Christian, I am a Jew, this to me, it defeats the entire purpose of the United States of America. And all you have to do is read George Washington's letter to the Newport congregation, in which he affirms the idea that we would give bigotry no sanction. This to me is, and the fact that people were cheering him, as you pointed out, a standing ovation, that to me is absolutely unacceptable as a principle of America.
And I would just say that there is a distinction here, and it's super important and significant. And the distinction is there are Christian policies, there are religious right-wing policies that are just that. They're policy-driven. Anti-gay marriage is one of them. Anti-abortion is another. These are things that for decades have been part of the philosophical and strategic political plan for the religious right. We're not talking about that. We're talking about an identity, a Christian nationalist identity, and the rise of that, and the call for Christian nationalism, which is a far different thing than these policy-driven things that I'm talking about. We're talking about that rise in America And so I see that as an extremely dangerous, pernicious influence in this movement. It's a far different thing than something that's policy driven.
May I point out, as we are on the eve of Christmas, that Jesus was born a Jew, that he lived his life as a Jew. And when Christian nationalism attempts to perpetrate this fraud on us, they'd better remember that the person they're citing was a nice Jewish boy.
Wasn't everybody Jewish back then, John? I don't really know. You're better on this stuff than I am.
No, not everybody was Jewish. Just talk to the Roman Empire.
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. It was not everybody. All right, John Rothmann. Kim.
Wait.
Oh, sorry. What is it, Kim?
I haven't given...
It seemed like a perfect moment to say they did this to spoil our Christmas. And Merry Christmas, everyone.
May I just say, I will not be here to celebrate.
Someone did this to spoil our Christmas.
Thank you. A little late, but that's
celebrate the birthday of Mark Thompson.
Yes.
But I hope everybody will realize, I'm not asking Mark how old he is, but if you are going to contribute to the show, figure out how old you think Mark Thompson is.
I've lost my audio. Yeah.
And
Sorry, go ahead.
send an equivalent contribution. And Mark, I really want to say to you and to Kim,
Thompson, party of four.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know I'll be back next week, so we'll be able to lead in the new year together. But I just want to wish you the happiest of healthiest birthdays. And I want to thank you on behalf of all of the listeners to the Mark Thompson program and beyond for all the good work that you and the team do. So
thank you, my friend. Always great to talk to you, and I really enjoy our relationship, collegial relationship that was birthed at KGO and has extended now in this new platform. So all the best to you, and greetings of the season. We'll talk next week. John Rothmann, everybody. Yeah, love that. Where's my Christmas stuff? You have it? Thank you. Yeah.
It's the Mark Thompson Show.
Who's Mark Thompson?
You cannot say you love your country.
Sayonara, sucker!
Listen to me. I don't want to hear you.
What's a guilty pleasure you have?
Seriously, what the
It's fantastic.
That's not fake. That's real.
It was great. I loved it.
There's never been anything like this.
So sweet.
Someone did this to spoil our Christmas.
Okay. Yeah, it's true. Those birthday wishes will spoil that Christmas. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We are a live show on Christmas Eve. Tony insisted on it. He said, I want to be on live on Christmas Eve.
Thanks, Tony.
And we are. Yeah. Tony working us in within an 11 job schedule. I get, because Tony and I both work for iHeartRadio, I get this little memo that says, so-and-so's working, so-and-so's working. They'll tell you who the engineers are who are working. They'll tell you who the producers are. They'll tell you who the hosts are, right? And Tony has to, he has to train people. He has to come in and run a show. It's like, oh, my God.
Even when it's harder to get someone to fill in for me than to just work. Honestly, sometimes it's just
really is.
I'm in.
I see you
and
there.
It's radio. There's no days off,
Vivian Alshao with a $10 super
big
sticker. Thank you, and a big shout out to you, Vivian. You are an OG of this show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Lori Dolly, who is insanely generous, also an OG. She wishes us a very Merry Christmas Eve, day, and birthday to you, Mark. Well, thank you, first of all, Lori, for recognizing me. I love my colleagues, but I feel that sometimes I get lost in the...
Do you know who I am?
Yes, I'm
kind of a big deal.
Just saying. So thank you, Lori Dolly. Happy days off, everyone, says Lori Dolly. And she gives us $70.
What?
I know. It's a big super chat. And I thank you, Lori Dolly. And I give you the thank you.
Thank you.
Beam me up too, Scotty. Say, OG Scott. This is is this from Scott? OG Scott? Scott Rittenberg, who's he is an OG of the show.
I think so.
Happy
Yeah.
holidays all. On my way now to see Dad. Oh, that's really
nice.
cool. Yeah.
Big shout out.
Big shout out to you, and thank you for the $10 super chat. By the way, in the show Star Trek, which is where that came from, beam me up, Scotty. I don't think they ever say beam me up, Scotty. Do they, Tony? I don't believe that. I don't think that phrase is ever really uttered. We all say it now, right? I mean, it's like the thing, beam me up, Scotty. Like even if you're it's like, oh, beam me up, Scotty. This is, but I think it's never actually said. You should check that.
Google it.
Yeah, okay, Google it and tell me. Bo says, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, MT Gang. Thank you for a $25 super sticker. Wow, super chat, I should say. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Beam me up, Scotty is a famous pop culture catchphrase from Star Trek, meaning get me out of here, or referencing teleportation. Captain Kirk used various variations, referencing, but it was never actually said in the original TV show or movies.
What?
Captain Kirk used variations like beam us up, Mr. Scott, or Scotty, beam me up, making it a celebrated misquote. The phrase embodies the idea of instant transport and escape stemming from the transporter technology and request to Chief Engineer Montgomery Scott, who operated that system. But it was never actually said. I thought that was right. Yeah. Still, beam me up, Scotty is it's the pop culture phrase, right? Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, MT Gang, says Bo. Thank you, Bo, and big shout out to you.
Big shout out.
Merry Christmas to all from one of the OGs, Sandy and Gary D. Gary D.
Mm-hmm.
Love you guys. Thank you. All the OGs. There's a $20 super chat. Some of the docs were redacted using Acrobat. Just copy into Word and voila, says 2 in 1 round. Thank you for the $5 super chat. And by the way, this is a very important point you're making. And I talked about with John, the chaotic way in which they did this. There is a quality of chaos and incompetence to this crew that's running the U.S. government right now. And it's played out in these redactions because you're right. The technology used to redact in many cases is completely defeated and easily defeated when you just cut and paste to basic Word, I think. It's revealed. I was watching some YouTubes on this. I mean, it's not hard to do.
Yeah, it's the layering, so.
Yeah, it's the layering, says Tony. Yeah.
Thanks, Tony.
Happy holidays to the Mark Thompson Show team, says Carla Morris. And Carla serves us up a Christmas $100
Really
super
generous.
chat.
Big shout out.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
I think, thank you so much, and thank you.
Thank you so much.
And a thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Does it seem like I'm not going to cry on that?
Oh, my God. This whole thing seems like I'm not going to cry.
I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry.
I'm so close to tears every day anyway, and you guys have
Really?
really taken it to another level. Merry Christmas, Mark, Kim, Tony, Albert, and all the remarkables everywhere, says OG Vilma.
Big shout out.
Big shout out to Vilma Devlin. Yeah, really, really cool. Not that it matters, but one of the reasons the U.S. founding fathers established a separation of church and state was that many of them were deists and not strictly Christian. Depressed Canadian says, thank you for a $10 super chat.
Big shout
Not
out.
only is that true, but you can get the Jefferson Bible in which Jesus is cut out. And, I mean, literally the way in which there was a view toward divinity and religion was as informed by differences of opinion and philosophy as it is today at the time. But, you know, the first colonists, it's true. I mean, I think the Puritans really got things kicked off here, and that's real religion. I mean, there's a sort of this sense that people came here for religious freedom as though it was religious freedom for everyone. No, it was not. It was the Puritans who founded America with a view of Puritanism being the religion. I mean, there was no embracing of other faiths particularly. Look at what happened when the first Americans arrived on American soil and they found a Native American population decimated by disease, and you saw vestiges of the religions of the native peoples, right? Were they embraced? Were they integrated into it? No, of course not. So, the my religion's better than your religion thing has been going on since the very beginning of time, and it's been going on in this country as well. But there's a very dangerous period that we're on the doorstep of. And again, I'll say this because it's Christmas Eve. There is nothing wrong with religion from the standpoint of all the ways in which it can provide solace and coherence and a wondrous warmth and even ritual that you respond to in your family, in your personal life, whatever. It certainly makes things like death, and it gives us ritual around various passages in life, everything from marriage to birth to adolescence. There are all of these things that religion has been laid on top of when it comes to living and when it comes to loss, and so religion can be an extremely important part of all of that. But the my religion's better than your religion, and we're going to do it my way, that seems to defeat the best of religious philosophy, is what I would just say. Paging the war on Christmas, says CC Ryder. War on Christmas is MIA. War on Christmas, please report to the courtesy phone. Merry Christmas to all. I love it. Very, very good.
Big shout
Thank you for a $20 super chat, CC Ryder. You're really great. Stella Luna with a $10 super sticker. Wow. Big shout out. Happy non-denominational holidays to HB, to Old Man. What is that?
Happy birthday to Old Man Thompson.
Oh, and happy birthday. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I can't read. The screen is so small.
Yeah.
Or my eyes are so small. One of the two. Happy birthday to Old Man Thompson. I am old. I don't like it. $20 super. Thank you, Terry K. Big shout out. Big shout out. And I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. But I am. When I think about how old I am, I do. $20 super sticker from Live the Santa Cruz Life.
Big shout out.
Santa Cruz, the birthplace, I think, of David K. Johnston, too, who's one of the wonderful regulars on the show. Thank you for that $20 super chat. So cool. And shout out to everybody in Santa Cruz. I loved this. During John Rothmann, I got this. G. Mark, why have a guest on when you do most of the talking? How dare you?
You know who I am?
How dare you?
Kind of a big deal.
I am offended by that. I am.
Who is having that conversation?
I invite guests on so that I can do most of the talking, everyone. Please, by now you should know.
Ooh, it's a wild idea, but it just might work.
They are props in my show, is what all I'm trying to say. I try to have conversations as opposed to a guest where I only ask a question, then I listen to them. So somebody like Rothmann, I shut up a lot during David K. Johnston or during Sarah Kendzior, but Rothmann, I talk right over. You're absolutely
rude.
Right. Yes, rude. But thank you for that. It was a
good day, sir.
Yeah, you really did call me on the carpet. So, and did we do this already? Jane O'Rama, Merry Wednesday and happy holidays to the amazing Mark Thompson Show team and Remarkables. Wishing you peace, love, and happy surprises and treats. I think we did it. And happy birthday, Mark. Jane, you're wonderful, though. Thank you for all of that. How about some quick news from Kim? Then I have a special Christmas Eve treat for you. J-L Cauvin joins us. The comedian and now political aspirant. He is wanting to become a congressman from New Jersey. Aspirant is a ding word. You're right. We'll do that right after Kim's news. Smash the like button like a boss, if you would.
Rod.
Thank you, all of you, for your generosity today, for being here on Christmas Eve. Kim's news, and we continue. Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Oh, I don't think I have my the theme music, Tony. Oh, yes, I do. I'm sorry.
On the Mark Thompson Show, I'm Kim McAllister on this Christmas Eve day. This report's sponsored by CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. The United States is sending additional forces to the Caribbean to help the Coast Guard seize a third Venezuela-linked oil tanker. According to Reuters, a U.S. official and a source familiar with the matter said the tanker is refusing to be boarded by the U.S. Coast Guard. The days-long pursuit is highlighting discrepancies between the Trump administration's efforts to seize Venezuelan-linked oil tankers and the limited resources of the Coast Guard in that area. There are more than 1 million documents potentially related to the Epstein case that have been uncovered. Boy, that's a lot of redacting over the holidays. More than 1 million documents.
I mean, they've had 11 months to do it. I don't know why it's taken them. Now they're doing it. They're like every college student. You put it off until the night before.
I thought they already had all the documents. Now they're saying even more have been uncovered. More than 1 million documents potentially related to the Epstein case have been uncovered by the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York and the FBI. They posted on X that they'd received the documents from SDNY and the FBI to review for release, and now they've got lawyers working around the clock to make legally required redactions and protect the victims. And they say that the documents will be released as soon as possible, but they say it could take weeks, more weeks.
SDNY is the Southern District of New York, of course. Yeah. I mean, so the investigations, as you know, into Jeffrey Epstein were really reaching a crescendo proportion in Florida and in New York. So I think those are two. That's why I say, you have victim statements in these places, right? They're true victim. We haven't seen those yet. So there's I guess, based on the DOJ, there's more to come. The last thing I would say on this is that the Democrats, although, Massey's a Republican and Ro Khanna is a Democrat, so they both led this crusade to get this stuff out. And the legislation that actually compelled it. So it's legally binding. I mean, you are compelled to release all of this stuff by legislative decree. But the reality is that they're trying to stall, they're trying to redact, and you see we're showing you now page after page that's just been blacked out. But there is nowhere to run and hide on this. And there will be, and there has to be, a legal reckoning if this stuff isn't released to conform to the legislation. I mean, this is literally Congress saying you will do this. It's legally binding. So there is no other cloak of secrecy you can put around it. Now, what they've tried to do, and then I'll shut up, but what they've tried to do is suggest that there are ongoing legal cases now, even though they said it's all said and done, there's no there. Remember that? When everyone from Pam Bondi to Kash Patel, all those who were, and to Trump, of course, who said this is all a hoax, there's nothing here. Now, because they saw the specter of the law coming forward and saying, no, these must be released. So as there was that drumbeat louder and louder and louder, what did they do? They began official DOJ investigations into possible legal cases. And when there's an ongoing investigation and potential legal case there, you're able to redact and withhold based on the fact that there is an investigation relevant to whatever passages of all of this there might be. So that's the way that they're cloaking in secrecy some of this stuff now. But apart from that, there shouldn't be any way that they can keep this stuff back.
Axios is reporting that the White House is now managing the Department of Justice's X account amid the Epstein files release. They say they're working to release the Epstein files, and so the DOJ account is now being overseen by the White House and is taking a more aggressive tone meant to defend the president. The United States is imposing travel bans on 5 European tech regulators it accuses of foreign censorship. Secretary of State Marco Rubio saying the 5 Europeans areas, regulators, are accused of being involved in the online censorship of Americans. Among those being banned, the person responsible for the Digital Services Act, a European law meant to oversee harmful content online. This month, the Digital Services Act was used by the European Union to fine Elon Musk's X platform $140 million for misleading practices. Musk claimed they were fined for refusing to censor content. So that's a big in Europe right now. The Trump administration is preparing to garnish the pay of student loan borrowers in default. Hey, Merry Christmas. According to an email from the Department of Education beginning the week of January 7th, about 1,000 borrowers who are in default will receive notices informing them of their status. The email contained no details about the nature of the garnishment, but the number of notices are set to increase monthly. Delta and KLM Royal Dutch Airlines facing legal action from a Virginia family over bed bugs. The family filed a complaint December 18th, alleging they were bitten and injured by the bed bugs that had infested the cabin of a flight they took earlier this year. According to the legal filing, the bites caused raised, itchy welts, lesions, and rashes across their torsos and extremities and ruined their family vacation.
Jeez.
So that'll put a dent in your vacation.
Yeah.
Tenants at a San Francisco apartment complex are accusing apartment staff of breaking into their homes and stealing Christmas gifts. Well, it's like the Grinch has arrived. Surveillance video inside some of the residences shows the property management staff trying to remove cameras or block them before making off with presents, advent calendars, and other holiday gifts.
There's always one of these stories that, like there's almost a daily story about how some crew is ruining Christmas for, some kids in orphanage, people, Make-A-Wish kids or whatever it might be. I mean, there's always, and now this is.
Look at that guy.
Yeah. So you're saying this guy disabled a bunch of, he and his henchmen disabled a bunch of the security stuff.
Yeah, they're caught on the cameras. The company has terminated the employees in question. The tenants say they want more accountability after having their holidays ruined. San Francisco police say they've taken a report about the incidents and arrests may be forthcoming. Can you imagine
We're taking a report. We're taking a report, everybody. We've got a lot of stuff going on. The Waymos are blocking the downtown financial district. We'll get to you when we can.
And lastly, the Powerball jackpot now stands at $1.7 billion ahead of a drawing tonight on Christmas Eve.
It must be hard to win because the amount just keeps on growing.
Tony and I think it's going to pop tonight, just letting you know.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
conveniently.
Right in time for Christmas, a Christmas holiday. It's a Christmas miracle. This report is sponsored by CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. Speaking of miracle, this Virginia vanilla tea is keeping me going. It has been keeping me going through 2025 and will continue to do so in 2026. CoachellaValleyCoffee.com is the website. They still have the holiday blend up. They've got some great coffees and teas. Please check it out and use your super secret Mark Thompson Show discount code MARKT at checkout. No spaces, MARKT. That'll get you 10% off at CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. I'm Kim McAllister, and this is The Mark Thompson Show.
They had to close down an entire radio station to silence him. And now, he's here. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Thompson. Feel it in your soul. The Mark Thompson Show.
Who's Mark Thompson? Smash it with your iron rod.
There's a reason that this place is fun.
I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry.
Have you ever been a member of the Chinese Communist Party?
Morning.
You cannot say you love your country.
There's always been in this country 30 to 35% idiots.
Where are my weed smokers at?
I love it when you're angry.
Can you let him finish, sir?
Seriously, what the
This is no summer camp.
It was great. I loved it.
I'm happy to be with you live on Christmas Eve. It is a very special time of year. Everyone has been super supportive of this show. We are dropping videos, as we were saying before, each and every day until Monday. Some conversations related to politics. I think most of them are not related to the politics of today. But one of the people who we are so excited that this year has brought us closer to is this immensely talented, super smart guy. And he has decided to run for Congress. And so I'm supporting him. I think a lot of our listeners are supporting him. And we welcome him back right now on this Christmas Eve, live from the East Coast, New Jersey, where he lives, J-L Cauvin. Look at you.
Good to be here.
Down to your fighting political weight. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my Georgetown law diploma. You know, I've really, I had to take off the Maxim magazine centerfolds off my bro wall to look more, thoughtful and erudite.
Yeah, you want to clean up the act. Yeah. You can't.
Yeah,
and
the weight loss. Oh, sorry, the weight loss. Just since you commented, it's amazing what being out in the cold for 10 hours a day and not being able to eat due to your nerves and stress will do for your body weight. Who needs Ozempic?
It's cheaper than Ozempic, but not as much fun. You will find the link as we talk to JL about everything. You'll find the link in the live chat to contribute and be part of the magic that is J-L Cauvin's campaign, JL4NJ.com. NJ, of course, standing for New Jersey. For those who are just listening, that's why I'm just saying it out loud, JL4NJ.com. It's F-O-R, not the number 4, JL4NJ.com. So you mention it, there is like fundraising. You had to get petitions signed or you had to get signatures sufficient to put you over a threshold so you could be part of this. Take us into this political process a little bit.
Sure. It starts with walking up to a man for your first night of petitioning, and you say to him and his 2 friends, "Hey, are you guys registered Democrats in the area by any chance?" And within 10 seconds, they're telling you they don't vote for baby killers. And I said, okay, maybe politics isn't for me. But then I fought through that and numerous other awkward engagements. So over 10 days, I had to get 500 signatures. We ended up getting 619.
Wow.
We got on the ballot. Thank you. We got on the ballot. That in and of itself was like this hurdle that you had no time to celebrate, but it was an accomplishment because, and I don't trash other Democrats too hard, even in a primary. I try not to, but everybody, it's sort of an open secret that the governor, the exiting governor, his campaign manager is a candidate in the race. And it was a sort of process that was designed to sort of don't learn too much about everybody. Just let's go. Let's get our voters out there. Let's do this in 2 months. It'll be over. Good, done. My biggest, and the thing people have said to me at events so far is if you had 6 months, this isn't to say I don't have a shot, but they said if you had 6 months, if you had a regular primary sort of schedule, every event I go to, my only Achilles heel right now is meeting enough people. Like
right.
There is something, and so right now this is obviously a down week, so I'm really focusing on making some videos. I put out my ad, which is I'm as proud of that as any comedy video I've ever done because
wait a minute, do we have that ad? Can we now? Hang on a second before you run it. Here's JL. You can see it for those who are on YouTube. Is there music in it? Because that'll get me demonetized.
No. And my whole thing with it was no music, no cuts. It's one take basically of me talking.
How long is it?
It is 1 minute, 53 seconds.
Let's run it,
cool, thank
please.
You.
Would you turn it?
I'm J-L Cauvin, and I approve this message. Hi, everyone. I'm J-L Cauvin, the guy who just approved this message. I'm running for the Democratic nomination in NJ11 because I think we deserve a real person to represent our district and our party in Congress. Democrats are finally gaining ground on MAGA, mainly because Donald Trump's atrocities and corruption are on full display for everyone to see. But are we going to send the exact same type of Democrats back to Washington who sort of got us in this mess in the first place? Career politicians who are seat shopping? How's it going? Machine politicians who say they want to fight, but don't even seem to want a fair fight for this seat? And outsiders who spent decades in Washington bashing fellow Democrats almost as much as they fight MAGA. If you want a candidate who will fight for seniors, climate action, affordable housing, and democracy, but will communicate it in a way that reaches real people and grows our coalition instead of dividing it, then I'm the candidate for you. I began my career as a prosecutor. I now work in eviction prevention. I try to go where people need help. But I've also built a very large social media following over the last 2 decades as a comedian, and I know a joke when I see it. Allowing our seat to go to the same types of politicians who have weakened our party when we need to be stronger than ever is a mistake. We need candidates who are free from investigation so people can trust our party again. We need candidates who will steamroll MAGA, not fellow Democrats. And we need candidates who are ready to fight the battles of 2026, not 2016. My name is J-L Cauvin. I fight in courtrooms, I build community on social media, and I'm from Bloomfield. And my train is late, and we should probably do something about that as well.
That's a great spot, pal.
Thank you. Like,
yeah,
and I don't mean to. I'm extremely proud of that because I did it. Like I made it. That wasn't. Nobody helped me. Nobody like.
Right. You didn't have a
constructed that
media
for me.
team in. Yeah.
Right. And I felt like it captured in under 2 minutes the message, both as a Democrat and as a communicator, that I want people. If you only have 2 minutes and you can spread that out, when you can't meet 50,000 people in 1 month, how do you reach people and let them know who you are? And the response to it has been really great. Our donations have been really good off of it. But it was, I was just very proud of it because it really, you get worried that it's going to stink or like, I think it's good. Will the execution? Credit to my friend Dana, who's done a lot of sketch work with me as far as behind the scenes. So it was great to also just be able to bring to bear a couple of comics from a neighbor, a couple of comics I know, and a guy who's made sketch videos with me for a decade plus, and just bring that to bear because that's kind of what I'm telling Democrats and voters in this district that I will do. I will bring my skills that I've acquired in multiple professions to make myself a strong messenger for you. And the reason I don't mind, obviously I love coming on your show, but to reach, I've received generous donations from your audience and several West Coast people, because I think running a national campaign, I'm not running a national campaign in terms of like, I want to make this election about issues that don't matter to the district. It's more like every election in this country has a national component now because of Donald Trump. It would be wonderful if we could go back to the all politics is local, which it is, but all politics is now national. So if you have an opportunity to get somebody who understands the moment, understands where we are in terms of messaging, attention, and politics, why not our district? Like, we don't have to wait for another district to pick somebody with engagement and charisma and a good head on their shoulders for a hack. We can be that district. And it's not me alone. It's not one guy is going to show up, and we need 100 of me in different districts in communicating in different ways, because one of the things that's resonated on the stump with people that sort of got people really appreciating at least what I'm bringing to the race, if nothing else, is I said, you look at Joe Biden's first 2 years, that is landmark shit. And he didn't get a victory lap. We did the same thing we did after the Affordable Care Act. We somehow ran from our accomplishments. And, I don't know if I would have done it that. Like, we tried to hem and haw and be like, well, I don't know if he should. We didn't just stand up and go, we just did this. Progressives, pay attention. We just did this. People concerned about your pocketbooks. We just did this. This is going to help you. And I know we have to do things now to help you now, but this is an investment in our long-term economic and political health. And we have bad messengers, and we have people afraid to message, kind of driving and it's, that's what and I'm offering to people an opportunity to do that and be one of the new voices that we need. And I say that as a member of the community and as a Democrat. Like, it doesn't have to be me. It could be me. I could be part of the solution. I'm not the solution. And that's what I'm trying to, and I stand out, and I'm sorry to keep rambling, but in this field, I do stand out. And it's not because I feel like Democrats often, they view authenticity as like a trademark. Like, we have a man who grunts and murders animals and wears flannel. We now have reached authentic America. It's people can tell authenticity, and there's not one brand of authenticity, but they hear it and they can feel it. And I am in this field. there are good people in this race. This is not me saying there are a bunch of hacks and no, but there are like 10 and a half politicians running. And then there's me. And it's sort of like, I know what I'm talking about. You can read my resume, you can listen to me speak, but there is an authenticity that doesn't have to be like, I just drink beers and I do this. And we have this like comical vision of authentic. People know it. They hear, I talk differently than everyone, not less educated, not less clearly, but it's just how you talk to people. It resonates. And what I'm doing is starting to resonate.
I think everything you said, of course, really lands cleanly. But I think the interesting notion that you've offered is that there is both the local, handling your constituency, having ideas for improving the lives of your constituents, but also understanding that you're part of a bigger need, which is to have Democrats back in control. Because so I think the notion that every election is a national election, I think is really a good one. A lot of love for you in the chat, as you can see. And let's clear this up. Mobius says, wait, help, is this New Jersey's governor's seat that she had to vacate? That election is in April. No, it's not the governor's
No, this
seat.
is it. No, it's not it's her seat.
It's the one she had to vacate. Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the general, she's correct in he or she, I'm sorry, is correct. The general is April, but it's a pretty safe blue seat. So the primary, like a lot of our gerrymandered nonsense, the primary is the election, basically, unless, of course, a comic wins. And then I'm sure there will be all sorts of funds going in saying, wait, do we have any celebrities in Jersey who can take this guy out?
Where's Joe Piscopo when you need him? I mean, he's the big Jersey. He's a MAGA guy, right, in Jersey?
He is.
I feel like his star has faded in the Jersey politics. Wasn't he making a move for a while anyway?
I've seen, I think, when he'll probably be at the Turning Point Super Bowl halftime show. I think that's sort of the level they're operating at right now.
Yeah. It's very exciting. That spot is terrific.
Thank you. And thank you to your audience, including the person who told me never contact me ever. They said it's my first donation since the 80s, and I was very proud. And then I turned the letter over, and it was like a bullet point of, if you dare bother me, say goodbye. So if they're listening, I know you said depositing it was the thanks you needed, but you're getting another thanks, okay? If you hate me for saying thank you twice, then I can't help that. But your audience was very generous, and I hope, and I'm sorry, this is the vulgar part of this, because for me, the empowering thing I can tell people giving me money is we are a lean campaign. You're not going to see a war chest at the end of this campaign. It's like, what do I do with this excess $300K we accumulated for no reason? Every dollar, that ad cost me $1,000, and it's going to be, it's a better ad than anybody, because it was basically like a glorified YouTube thing, but it looks great. And that's
really a clever idea. And for those just listening, there are a lot of people listening on Spotify or iHeartRadio. You should check the ad out. I mean, you can find it here on our YouTube. Obviously, the video, you'll see it, but you can also find it on the JL website, JLFORNJ. So JL4NJ.com. It's really clever because there's stuff going on in the background that you have to see. It's really good.
Yeah. So and I just it's a way to show people, like, when you're running for office, every organization sends you a survey so you can answer questions and where are you on the issue, so we can put together our guidebook for our organization. And one of the things that I've been hammering on some of these is you can give a lot of generic answers that are just what you believe. Like, and there is something comforting for me when people are like, well, where are you on this? And I go, oh, I have the freedom. I just say what I actually believe. I don't think, I go, here's my answer. If you don't like, don't vote for me. Like this isn't my job. This is a little bit of a calling and a little bit of a thing where I think I can help, but it's not my existence. And I don't have to go, what do you think I should be for? Or, I think and then people will resonate with what they feel is the truth coming off you, as long as the truth isn't some Nick Fuentes rant. But I just think that the money that, I just keep having to ask for money for the rest of this campaign. It's only like 6 weeks remaining, but the best thing I can say to people is your money will be maximized when you give me, $20, I guarantee you that is being used more effectively than $20 or $50 to another campaign in this race. And the issue now is, how much advertising can I do? How far can I spread that ad and other things I'm doing? Because that is the thing that will turn this to me, and that's a money issue.
It's a weird place that we find ourselves in too, because I think a lot of the stuff that might have a virality and would catch kind of an internet fire, you have to sort of hope, you have to sort of place, you have to be strategic, but you also want, I would think, some kind of traditional media, and yet there are so many candidates. You have to stand out from that field. You need eyewitness news to come out and cover some event as well, just to reach those people who are not part of the internet virality.
Right, and part of our money will be spent on staging like a fake hit and run where I rescue a grandmother in front of cameras. We have to be inventive with our campaign, is what I'm saying.
All right, it is jlfornj.com, jlfornj.com. J-L Cauvin, we are behind you, and we support you. Come back and visit as much as you need to.
Thank you.
And we'll ask you about the Trump golden battleships next time.
Next time, I think I can do an official old school visit and just mention the campaign. But unfortunately, I'm in
you're in campaign mode,
sex worker mode. I want to use the right terminology, but that's what it feels like. I want to be respectful to the working men and women in that industry. So I'm in sex worker mode.
I love it. All right, J-L Cauvin, good luck. Happy holiday, Merry Christmas, all that stuff.
Acetaminophen.
Yes, that's the stuff. Acetaminophen.
The Mark Thompson Show.
This is Mark Thompson.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy Chinooka. Chinooka's done. No, it's way done, isn't it? Michael Snyder, you're the closest thing to a Chinooka celebrant in this world. Chinooka's done.
I'm a secularist, but I do celebrate the.
I mean, you know when it is.
It's over. Although, as you might recall, Kim expects it to go 12 nights. We're still rolling.
14 was her first guess.
We're rolling forward with Kim's 13th, 14th, maybe 15th night of Hanukkah.
Right. It's
You've got a holiday going. It's good.
I think she had an upgrade for it. I mean, I give Kim credit, and she was upgrading the holiday to 14 nights. It might be a little bit better.
Oil burning. Let's go.
Talk to those tribal elders and get that thing going. Thanks to J-L Cauvin.
13 dreidling. I mean, I have a whole song written out.
Oh, yeah. You can modify the existing song. How about the quiet OG? Dale McLean, a $50 super chat on Christmas Eve. I'm saying big shout out. I'm saying thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And I'm saying thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Dale, you rock. We love you and thank you. And everybody who's been so very generous today on this Christmas Eve. Happy pre-birthday, Mark, says Jim Slayton. Big shout out. Thank you. That's right. My birthday is the 26th, Friday. We'll be dark. We won't be on the air. Oh, geez. Got to take down all the Acrobat ones and redact before anyone notices, says 2-in-1 round. That's right. They redacted using a technology that was easily defeated. And so you can actually see many of the redactions. It's crazy. 2-in-1 round. Thank you. Yeah, that's probably the conversation they're having.
This is the gang that couldn't shoot straight, man.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Gwen, thanks, Gwen. Gwen Whitesoul with a $2 super chat.
Big shout out.
Thank you very much. I'm enjoying my Coachella Valley coffee with Christmas cookies. Merry Christmas, says Holly Hinman. I also am enjoying my. Did you get some coffee on the way in?
I did. It's Coachella Valley coffee, which is, according to you and me, the best coffee
on earth
around.
Yeah, it's really great.
It's so delicious.
I encourage everyone to jump on board. All organic, ethically sourced from women-owned farms around the world. CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. But definitely use our discount code 10% off if you use Mark T at checkout. Mark T. And speaking of tea, try their tea, which is amazing, and also the spices. This is a weird thing, I'll tell you. I'm going to read this, and you'll understand why I say it's weird. Yvonne Beachbonny says, R.I.P. Jim Avila, we miss you. Such a gift you were to us, which is so very true.
There's
now,
always been in this country 30 to 35% idiots.
That is Jim Avila. Now let me tell you why this is eerie. Because last night, I had a long dream about Jim Avila.
Wow.
And so to see Yvonne mention Jim Avila in the chat is just eerie to me. It was so significant, was the dream with Jim Avila, that to Courtney this morning, I said, oh my God, I had this really detailed dream about Jim Avila last night. So it's just eerie to me to see it show up in the super chat or in the chat. Anyway, Jim, we miss him. It's been a year that sucked. 2025, not a fan. Happy to get going away. Don't know if the next year is better, but the loss we've experienced this year and the tumult and the drama and the horrifying changes in this country and in our communities, all of that informs my opinion, which is that 2025 has just been pretty terrible. But the loss of Jim Avila is top of the list. Happy Christmas, everyone. Christmas Day is 4.5 hours away here in London. Hello, London. Says it, G.J. Thomas. Is that who it is? G.J. Thomas. Happy Christmas, everyone. Christmas. I have to say this, and I don't know if this is true. Sometimes I'm right up front about sharing something I'm not sure is true. But I feel like maybe it's just the Charles Dickens thing with the Christmas Carol. I feel like the British Christmas is like the real Christmas. Am I wrong?
No, that's pretty close. And in fact, I think in some ways, Jim Avila was your ghost of Christmas past, present, and future last night.
Wow, that's such a great call. Yeah. Wow, maybe you're right. All right, Snyder is on board, and he's going to make some... Jim is watching us with love. I certainly hope that's true, Gordon. I hope and wish that is true. But thanks for all of the great Christmas greetings. We are not done. The magic of the Culture Blaster awaits us. This man, when it comes to film, music, art, he is without peer. Wrote for the San Francisco Chronicle for years. He's a brilliant writer. He's a screenwriter. He's a movie critic. And he shares his musings as the Culture Blaster across social media, and here every week he comes and goes on a rainbow. The wonderful Culture Blaster, Michael Snyder.
Hey, Merry Xmas to all. I certainly want to acknowledge the birthday of Jesus X. That guy, he was something else.
But he really got it done.
He was. And in fact, with that in mind, and it is Christmas Eve, we have kind of an annual tradition. I was at the Tam O'Shanter in LA's groovy Atwater Village neighborhood last night. It's the historic Scottish pub that was the go-to watering hole and lunch destination for Walt Disney and his core animators back in the day. And there is even a tiny brass plaque to that effect on the table where they always gathered, which is kind of cool.
That is cool, yeah.
Anyway, the Tam features festive decor for the holidays, and as Christmas approaches, they have a quartet of Christmas carolers in Dickensian garb, singing all the classic carols like God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen and Good King Wenceslas. Last night, they started with Feliz Navidad, a longtime favorite of Victorian London's Mexican community. And they also did Last Christmas. And a lot of people don't know this, but Charles Dickens was a big Wham fan. I mean, seriously.
I didn't know that, yeah.
But yeah, I feel kind of festive, and it has been a difficult year. I'm excited that your birthday is coming up on Friday.
Thank you, Michael. Let's get it back to me.
Happy birthday in advance. I know you're going to self-award the Rod of Equity and Mercy. By the way, Mark, I don't want to upset you or worry you. I just got wind of a cease and desist from a British couple in Sussex, Rod Equity and his wife Mercy. They are very upset with how you're making use of their name over and over again.
Wow, that could be one of my first battles of the new year. This is the Tony, in his remarkable ability to find a video, has found a picture of that spot that you were talking about. This was a favorite spot of Walt Disney and his Imagineers, the very thing to which you were referring there in that restaurant in Hollywood.
Tony is Tony on the spot, always appreciated. And by the way, a shout out to him and all of his loved ones, and to Albert, who isn't here, and obviously the Kim and her family. It's that time of year when you kind of recognize friendship and camaraderie, and you want to express the love. And one of the great things about this Tam O'Shanter thing is a gathering of friends, and we do it every year, and it is really a wonderful, warm circumstance. And we drink the pints and have a little snackage. And
I'm just delighted to know that you actually have friends, Michael Snyder.
I know, it's hard to believe, buddy. Hey, you're my friend. I risked hydroplaning and
I know,
what have you.
It's stormy here today. So,
really
hey, by the way, just to as a digression,
sure.
And I'll probably mention this again, but this from Andrea Johnson, who says Jim Avila was honored yesterday on Meet the Press. They did a segment on people that we lost in 2025. In addition, the suave PR picture of Jim that they showed was a really cute picture of him as a very young reporter, says Andrea. That's really cool to know. I didn't know that. Now I'm going to go back and find that segment. Thank you, Andrea Johnson.
What a great guy. What a great guy. Honored I had a chance to meet him. Let's talk movies, because Christmas Eve and Christmas Day are big movie days.
Yeah.
New films get released, and some of them are... they have the scent of awards season about them, and some don't, like the one I'm going to kick off with. Anaconda, which
Anaconda doesn't work?
Well, hang on. Anaconda is not really a sequel. It's a movie about two guys who decide that they're going to make their own version of Anaconda. They're familiar with the original, which featured, among other people, Ice Cube and John Voight. Man, the idea of John Voight getting swallowed by a snake is a really good one, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, the real John Voight.
Yeah.
You're
not a John Voight fan?
Not really.
Right.
Anyway, this is a stupid comedy with intermittent laughs. These two guys have been buddies forever. Paul Rudd is one of them, and he plays a struggling actor in L.A. He left Buffalo as a young man with big dreams, and they haven't really manifested. And his best buddy, played by Jack Black, is still back in Buffalo, and he makes wedding videos, but he's always aspired to be a movie maker, make a legitimate film. And during the holidays, I guess that must be the connection. Paul Rudd's character comes back to Buffalo and reconnects with an old girlfriend played by Tandaway Newton. She's slumming. I guess everybody needs the paycheck. Mm-hmm. And the three of them come to the realization that they can kind of finance their own low-budget Anaconda movie. I know, it's implausible, it's silly, and they are going to go down to the Amazon. They go to Brazil, and all hell breaks loose, and there are real... anacondas out there, and obviously...
I saw the trailers or the commercials. It looks like a mix of kind of comedy and a madcap reptilian fun.
It's a stupid comedy with intermittent laughs. There are moments of goofy, gross-out horror that are more phony than scary, which is good. And, you got these two lead actors, one whose shtick is always trying too hard, that's Jack Black, and the other who trades in on his, let's call it laconic likability, that's Paul Rudd. And again, there's Tandaway Newton. Holy cow, what's she doing in the middle of this? Anyway, the whole enterprise is pretty ridiculous. I was rooting for the snakes. I'm not kidding. I really was. And there is more than one. There are some interesting moments, like I said, and some laughs, no question about it. Steve Zahn plays their third party, one of their best friends from their youth, and he's going to be their techie on their trek down the Amazon River. Yeah, God, it could have been better, I think, and I guess it's counter-programming for what you might expect on Christmas.
I see.
But it does have its moments. It does seem like it's a streaming or cable option at some point for people. And
you were
again,
a bit disappointed.
yeah, it was funny. I went with our friend Heather, and she laughed, and she said, that was so stupid, but I laughed.
Yeah.
Tom Gormican is the director and co-screenwriter. It's not, boy, here we go again. Michael Snyder, The Mark Thompson Show, not terrible.
It's not awful, yeah,
No, but it's not great either. Anyway, let's move on to something that is, in fact, in the discussion for the upcoming Oscar nominations.
So what I've done is I've asked Tony a couple of times in the chat to do something, and he's not paying attention to the chat, so I did it.
What's that?
Which is I'm making the poster bigger and me smaller, Tony. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Oh, your technical expertise.
Yes, I'm just
always
so
dazzles
people watching
me,
don't have to look at my mug in the bigger picture. What is the next film? And you'll see what I'm talking about.
Marty Supreme, which is a new movie written and directed and edited by Josh Safdie of the Safdie brothers.
Oh yeah, they're good
team.
usually.
Oh my God, they made together
Tony.
Uncut Gems, Good Time. They are really on it. They make these gritty, funny, oftentimes New York-based movies. And in this case, what Josh does is he goes back to the early 1950s in New York, and in a story inspired by a real guy, he tells the tale of a man, in this case, named Marty Mauser. He is a young guy, and he wants to be a ping pong champion, and he has skills. Unfortunately, he's also short on cash. He works at his uncle's shoe store, but he dreams of doing all these championship ping pong matches and getting somewhere. And he actually plays pretty well. And this guy, Marty, is played by everybody's favorite contemporary heartthrob, that cutie pie, Timothy Chalamet. And they kind of nerd him up a little bit. His skin is a little pockmarked in this. The makeup people are great. He's kind of a little greasy and weird looking. His mother is played by Fran Drescher, which is a lovely piece of casting. And his childhood girlfriend, who ends up getting further embroiled in his life, is played by Odessa A'zion, who is so wonderful in I Love L.A. If you haven't been watching that on HBO, I encourage you to watch it. She is, in fact, the daughter of Pamela Adlon. So she's kind of a legacy kid, and she changed her name a little bit to A'zion just to kind of say, oh, no, I'm not my mom. But
that's cool.
She's wonderful in this thing, and it really carries you along, and unbelievably, it carries you along at 2.5 hours. There's not a dead moment in it.
That's a lot of ping pong.
It's really fun and really exciting. But I have to tell you, this character of Marty Mauser is not the most pleasant person. He is the embodiment of untrammeled ambition, and we see the price that often has to be paid for success of any kind. He's going to do whatever he can. Winning isn't everything for this guy, Marty. It's the only thing. When this thing is in a groove, I have to tell you, Marty Supreme is as tense and exciting as a championship ping pong match. And again, this guy's going to do anything to get
What is
over.
it? You've said that several times. He's going to do anything.
He's going to take money from the family. He's going to.
That's what I'm.
I didn't want to.
Is there an underhanded aspect to his aspiring to be a ping pong champion?
I think that was implied by what I said.
I think that's true.
But again, a great supporting cast. Safdie co-wrote this thing with Ronald Bronstein. And again, in addition to seeing the great Fran Drescher in a small role, we get Gwyneth Paltrow here as a faded Hollywood actress who's trying to revive her career on the stage. And somehow Marty connects with her in a very kind of sordid way. And one of the ways he's going to use her is that her husband is a very, very wealthy man, and Marty's going to try to get a little money out of this guy so he can continue his career as a ping pong professional. It's pretty good. And I have to say, I deduct a couple points for one thing and one thing only. Anachronistic 1980s needle drops at the top of the movie that took me out of this world of early 1950s New York City.
Oh, interesting. So they're not of the time.
No,
they're anachronistic.
At the very beginning.
That means that they're not of the time.
Yes. Then they begin. He begins getting into more 50s oriented music, and it's fine. Had he saved an 80s needle drop for the end credits, I wouldn't have been as kind of.
But you're saying at the beginning of the movie, it really does. It was inappropriate.
But that doesn't mean.
But
you're
nitpicking. Is what
I
you're
am.
saying.
It's a very good film. Marty Supreme in theaters right now. Speaking of music, I'm going to tell you something. honest and true and a little embarrassing.
Oh,
I
wow.
was totally caught up, swept up by Song Sung Blue, a corny and blatant crowd pleaser.
Man.
Yeah, Mr. Cynical was pleased. This is the true story, or it's based on the true story of a couple who are musicians struggling in Milwaukee to get their careers going, and they do tribute nights and what have you. The guy who is played by the wonderfully talented Hugh Jackman, the guy Mike, who's better known as Lightning, does sort of Elvis-y stuff, but he really loves Neil Diamond's music. The woman Claire, who is Thunder in their group Lightning and Thunder, does Patsy Cline music. And they decide to do a tribute to Neil Diamond, not an impersonation, but a tribute, and it catches fire. Pearl Jam has them open for them. Again, this is a true story. And what happens over the course of Song Sung Blue is they come up against some really difficult moments in life that actually threaten not only their partnership, but could ruin a weaker person. And I don't want to get into any great depth about it.
I'm intrigued now.
But
there's jeopardy here that I didn't know existed.
Well, it's
I thought it was just kind of one of those jukebox type movies.
No, it's a true story again, and some really kind of daunting things happen to the couple. And this is about how they deal with what they had to come up against, and also about this wonderful appreciation that the city of Milwaukee has for this group and their love of Neil Diamond and what have you. Again, lovely performances by Hugh Jackman and Kate Hudson. You get a lot of Neil Diamond music. And again, in some ways you may think this is pandering, but is it pandering to wait for the entire crowd to go, whoa, 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 when they perform Sweet Caroline?
Sweet Caroline,
I guess you could call it that. Director, screenwriter Craig Brewer did a lovely job here. Again, this is not a great film, but it is very enjoyable, and the performances are lovely. It is opening wide. Song Sung Blue.
We have tickets for that on New Year's Eve day, says John Watson. And CC Ryder is saying, yay, just watched a 30-minute interview with Kate and Hugh on the making of the film. Shocked that 13 studios turned down the script.
It's very sweet. By the way, the initial inspiration for this was a documentary about this couple. Again, this is a true story.
But it was turned down by 13 studios. I'm just learning from C.C. Ryder.
Well,
written by the brilliant Craig Brewer, as you suggest, from Hustle and Flow and Footloose fame.
Yes, it's a very, very
Thank you, CC.
Sweet and entertaining movie. Michael Imperioli, Fisher Stevens, and Jim Belushi are among the supporting actors. And it's basically about the incredible charisma and likability of Hugh Jackman and Kate Hudson, who doesn't make enough movies. Kate Hudson, she's a Nepo baby, but I don't care. She's talented and sweet.
She does a great job. Yeah.
Agreed. Okay, so
all right, we're finishing up a great one. What do you have?
Let's move on to The Testament of Ann Lee, which is a historical biography movie about a real woman, Ann Lee, who founded the religious sect known as the Shakers in the UK.
Oh, wow.
And then came over to the United States back in the 1700s while all this tumult was going on in the middle of the Revolutionary War and all that stuff. She's building her flock, and it's all about the situation.
It was in the 1700s?
It was back then during the Revolutionary War era, man.
Wow.
That stuff was going on, and they built their own little community in America. They basically had kind of gender and social equality ideas, and there was also a certain
that seems very un-American.
A sort of a reserve about sex and what have you.
Yeah.
But
everybody agreed on that.
There's a lot of the
Puritanism.
hymns. A lot of the hymns from that era are sung in a devotional way. There's chorus moments and stuff.
This is a documentary?
No, it's
a dramatic.
It's a dramatic. It's an historical drama.
Wow.
And Amanda Seyfried, who is cashing a paycheck for The Housemaid, does some of the best work of her entire career as Ann Lee. It's a very powerful performance. The director and co-screenwriter is Mona Fastvold, who was the co-screenwriter of The Brutalist, which was directed by Brady Corbett, who she co-wrote The Brutalist. He co-wrote The Testament of Ann Lee, and I guess they have a really amazing partnership. I thought it was pretty impressive stuff, and it gets a little dry at times, but the performance by Seyfried really carries this thing. The
How
Testament
long
of
is this
Anne Lee.
one, Michael?
Well,
in a world where everything's 2.5 hours.
It's 2 hours and 17 minutes, Mark.
It's unbelievable.
You need your patience for
I mean,
this
they
one.
confound the religious sect in 2 hours and 17 minutes. I could found another one.
Right. But there's some good supporting
But you
work.
liked it.
I did.
And I'm intrigued by it. I'm going to go see it. Is it in theaters?
It is. Thomas and Mackenzie and Louis Pullman have supporting roles here. And I thought it was pretty impressive. You know, I just want to talk one more time about a movie that I'd kind of been thinking about over the past couple of weeks. And it's not a great film, but it, again, like Song Sung Blue, it's a little bit of a crowd pleaser. It's called The Choral. And The Choral is, in fact, one of those uplifting period dramedies that the English, the Scots, and the Irish do so well. It's based in some ways on a true story. It's set in 1916. The war is going on, World War I, and there are some men that are being conscripted, and they're going to go off to fight in the trenches. And in Yorkshire, there are still a few left, and there is apparently a society in the Ramsden, Yorkshire area that still wants to put on performances and what have you. So they have to recruit all these new people to do this. And it's a polyglot bunch. And they have to also find a new chorus master. And they find a guy played by Ralph Fiennes called Dr. Henry Guthrie. And he has just come back from a career in Germany where he has friends and a lot of love in his heart. And Germany, of course, is the enemy in World War I. So there's a lot of friction that happens with his return. And they want to put on a show. And this movie, The Choral, is about that. It's the latest collaboration between director Nicholas Heintner and playwright-screenwriter Alan Bennett, who are probably best known for their adaptations of Bennett's plays, The Madness of King George and The History Boys. Great pedigree here. This is not great, though. You do have a nice mix of budding young actors and UK vets. It's a little underplayed, but I just thought it was, kind of a sweet and engaging story that kind of will disappear out of your mind as soon as it's over. It's not the greatest work by any of the people involved, but it is.
But you liked it.
I
liked it
was,
as a trifle.
Yes, I would call it that, and it's in select theaters out there. I do want to mention, I know people have Netflix, and let's just wrap things up with Goodbye June. Goodbye June is an obvious tearjerker that is too well cast and well performed to insult its audience. And it takes place just before Christmas. So there is the Christmas connection. And it stars Dame Helen Mirren as an older woman who has been battling cancer, and she's on her last legs, and she's in hospice, and she wants to die her way. And she has 3 daughters that are radically different from one another, that have always squabbled, and a kind of bruised son. And listen to who's playing the characters here, and you'll get an idea of why this thing works despite its obvious, ham-handed sentiment.
Yeah.
Kate Winslet, who directed, is one of the daughters. She's the kind of buttoned-down one who's had a good career and finances everybody else's issues. Toni Collette, who's sort of the wild child, who is like a yoga instructor on the European continent and has to come back because mom is ill. And Andrea Riseborough, who's sort of the crunchy granola type, who's married a kind of a good guy, and they're wrapped up with their kids. And the good guy's played by Stephen Merchant. And dad, opposite Helen Mirren, is Timothy Spall. Helen Mirren, Timothy Spall, Kate Winslet, Toni Collette. This is like power packed. Johnny Flynn plays the brother, and he's quite good. He played Bowie in a biopic a few years ago. It's the kind of movie that, is going to bum you out. It's just going to bum you out because, a wag, and I'm not one, might call it grief porn, but not me. By the way, Joe Anders, the son of the star and first-time director Winslet, wrote the script. But before you shout Nepo baby, Mark, allow me to shout Nepo baby. How you get a script like this made? Well, you're the son or daughter of a famous actress. Goodbye June is not, again, the Michael Snyder shrug. Not terrible. It's available on Netflix. And these performers are so engaging and charismatic. It's hard not to just flow with those guys.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty great pedigree. I mean, my God.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I guess it can happen that despite the pedigree that, what they have to work with may just not be that
Yeah, you're always talking, by the way, about how I cover the waterfront, the gamut, and you always say, hey, Korean movies and whatever. One more quick pin here.
All right.
No Other Choice is the latest film from the great Korean filmmaker Park Chan-wook, the guy who did Old Boy and The Handmaiden.
Yes, come on.
This is bracing, devilish, and darkly funny stuff. It's kind of a scathing, satirical skewering of heartless corporate culture, materialism, and the almost perverse drive to get ahead in business and life. This guy is laid off by this paper company where he works, and he's worked for many years, and he is totally freaking out. So he decides to take out anybody who might stand in the way of him getting another job. Oh my God, it is insane. Again, Park Chan-wook, brilliant Korean director, and the star of this thing is Lee Byung-hun, who has been in like the G.I. Joe movies and such, and here he is doing things back in Korea and just killing it as this desperate man. I give really high marks to what we would have to say is the kind of Tony foreign outlier here. No Other Choice opening today.
Wow, No Other Choice. It's in theaters. Scathing, satirical, and terrific.
Oh, yeah.
Around this laid-off employee. It's a wonderful Korean film. Goodbye, June is an incredible ensemble cast. Toni Collette, Johnny Flynn, Andrea Riseborough, Timothy Spall, Helen Mirren. And
amazing.
so, great cast. They gather together to say goodbye to their mother. But the film doesn't quite live up to the cast. Not bad, but not, again, living up to that kind of crew.
It's kind of like Terms of Encroachment.
The choral, Nicholas Heitner and Alan Bennett. Alan Bennett did History Boys and The Madness of King George. Again, this is the one that stars Ray Fiennes. And the choral, again, it's a trifle. It's one that will, it's okay.
Yeah.
The Testament of Ann Lee. I didn't know about this religious sect.
The Shakers.
I mean, I knew the Shakers, but I didn't know they were founded in the UK in the 1700s. They come to America. I mean, this is really interesting to me. I think I'd like to see it, even though it does run over 2 hours. Historical drama is what it is. Amanda Seyfried is the star and apparently puts in a terrific performance. The Testament of Ann Lee is in theaters, and Michael liked it. Again, he doesn't love any of this stuff, but he likes it, and so it got enough of an endorsement for me to want to go.
I think you should check it out. But again, the performances, specifically by Seyfried, are amazing.
The movie Song Sung Blue, which Michael didn't expect he'd like, is a true story of a struggling couple, musicians, and their tribute to Neil Diamond. She does Patsy Cline, he does Neil Diamond. They end up with such momentum that they open for Pearl Jam, and I mean...
They become a very beloved part of the entertainment community in Milwaukee.
Yeah, and so this story, which again is a true story, involves the whitewater rafting, I guess, emotional whitewater rafting that was associated with their rise. In other words, they endured a lot of challenges to their lives, even as they took this incredible ride.
Right, there is this tragedy that upends their entire thing that happens.
Song Sung Blue is in theaters. Marty Supreme, the story of an aspiring ping pong champion. Timothy Chalamet plays this guy. Again, a true story. Dreaming of ping pong dominance.
Inspired by a true story, not so much like Song Sung Blue.
Okay, Fran Drescher's in it. And Odessa, how does she say her last name?
Odessa A'zion.
A'zion, who the daughter of Pamela Adlon.
Yes, indeed.
He likes it a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Marty Supreme may be the pick of the Christmas weekend. And, of course, the Safdie brothers involved. Always good stuff. And Anaconda, they are doing amazing marketing for Anaconda. I see those spots everywhere. Michael Snyder says, not quite ringing the bell.
There was some smirking going on during the movie.
You might like it. Paul Rudd, Jack Black, etc. Michael, I wish we had any more time to muse and reflect, but sadly, we are all out of time. We're grateful for your contributions all year. Next week, I'm trying to think. Will we? Your normal Friday spot.
We'll work out the details. I'm not sure what we're going to do. Again, FYI, at the Voice of San Francisco, thevoicesf.org, you have my top 10 movies of the year available for your reading and musing pleasure. And we can talk about the year in review next time we get together, whenever that might be.
I like to read your musings at thevoicesf.org and imagine you speaking out loud as you do for us here. He comes and goes on a rainbow. Bye-bye, Michael Snyder.
Happy holidays. Go Niners.
Yeah.
Love you all.
Wow, isn't that sweet? Well, a loving message from Michael Snyder to everyone as we go way over time. I am grateful to everyone who has thrown in on the show today. It's been a really cool, the very best of holidays to you all, says Joe Fong, another OG of
Joe
the
Fong.
show.
Big shout out.
You're more appreciated than you know, says Joe Fong. Thank you, Joe.
Nice.
Really cool with a $50 super chat. Wow, wow, wow. Happy birthday, Mark Thompson, along with my pup, Daisy, who turns 10 on the 26th. That's pretty cool.
It's also Phineas's birthday on Sunday as well.
Oh, that's great. Happy birthday, Phineas. I want to also say happy birthday, Mark, said Julie French. I sent you a $100 gift. Wow. $100 gift is
nice.
Is what I'll need to pay the overtime for today's show. I am excited, Julie French. Thank you. And she says, I love your show and the entire team. Happy holidays. It is. The entire team is pretty great.
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah, Tony's great and Kim's
Kim,
great.
how are you?
And Albert's great.
Albert, thank you.
Thank you, Julie French. Love you, too. I take your love, I add love to it, and I send it back to you. There is a huge storm that is pounding Southern California and much of California as we speak. Look at what's happening on the 5 freeway in California. These are pictures. We're just getting into the Mark Thompson Show newsroom. Go ahead, Tony. Show him this still. There it is.
Yep.
And for those who are just listening and not watching, I will tell you that what you're seeing is one side of this freeway, the major north-south artery in California, completely engulfed in water. And so you find trucks, cars, other vehicles completely submerged up to the hood of the vehicle in this water that has risen. Wow.
As someone who drives that every day, this happens all the damn time there. Always at that spot.
It's at Penrose. It's a full freeway closure of I-5.
It's at that location. Yeah. The thing that Tony's talking about is that when you get enough rain, the drainage just isn't sufficient. You know. Wow.
They had early reports of drivers trapped in their vehicles there as they couldn't get through. So they said it would take a couple hours for the roadway to reopen. That was an hour ago. So it looks like they're still working on it.
Oh, man, it's rough. It's rough. Well, there it is. You can see the area. Tony's got it up right now, affected by this closure. If you don't need to go anywhere, maybe don't go anywhere. Sadly, we have to go somewhere. I'm going to physical therapy to get my neck work done. I don't know, man. Then I'm going to a gathering, a New Year's Eve dinner, which is going to be very exciting. Christmas Eve dinner. And I'll tell you what I'm bringing them. I brought them something from Mexico that I think the kids will like. We are bringing them a Christmas Santa piñata from Mexico.
Fun.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And isn't that a good,
That's lovely. It's almost like Las Posadas. You're going to be going from house to house with your piñata.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and it's filled with the treats for all the boys and girls. So looking forward to that. Merry Christmas, everyone. And
I'm Shadow Stevens for the Mark Thompson Show. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Merry Christmas, Kim. Merry Christmas, Tony.
Merry Christmas. Happy birthday.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for all the good wishes. We're dark until Monday, but there will be video, so check the channel. Bye-bye.